All right, hey guys. So we're going to look at the dollar to the Canadian dollar. I guess that's in the polling here. I'm so glad to see you guys expressing some interest in Forex. Well, you guys know this is where I like to trade. So all right, here's a great example of why. So this is a daily chart. Hard to miss the wave count, right? I mean, Elliott 101, right? Chapter 1, you're not going to miss that. So clear 5, and then we get an ABC right to a 50. Like, can it get more? Like, I mean, that's well, you know, I guess you get my drift here. So hard to miss these. So now coming off of this, now this is kind of interesting. So it would appear that we've completed a diagonal. So if the ABC is done here, and at this point there's no reason to assume that it's not, then all we've done is just get started on a one wave here, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's no reason to assume otherwise. Now, I suppose you could make the case that we had an ABC into a W. This isn't that we'd have to turn this into a corrective wave, and this could be a WXY. But I don't see any reason to go there just yet, unless we get a very deep retracement here that challenges this. At this point, it's pretty hard to top this, right? As a leading diagonal. We've looked at this not too long ago, because I remember this count. So here's the very slight front run on the 50. So coming off of that, right, so, I mean, you have there's an alternate here. But let's just look at just from what we see here. So first thing we can look at is we get a 1, 2, and then we get an ABC into a 3. We overlap the 1, so obviously this is, well, let's see. So whether the 1 is here, right? It looks like you could get your ABC down here. So if this is your 1, 2, ABC into a 3, well, we want to kind of check for wave tendencies and see if these are consistent with what you'd anticipate. So if I go here now, so look what happens here. So we get from the length of the 1 projected from the 2, we go up and we tag the 100 for the A wave. Come down. Well, let's see. If I'm not mistaken, this was also. All right, so we go from the A. It's just, guys, all right. This is why you want to look at Forex. Okay, so look what happens here. So after hitting that perfect 100%, we retrace to the 50. Now look at that. Look at that. So we go to the 1272, but just enough to tag the algo target. Now from that, so then you'd look at a couple of different spots. So you'd want to look for it always in a diagonal. So let me pull this off. Well, let me point this out here just of note. So here's the 1618, right? So you have that we'll get there on the alternate. So you look there and you say, well, that's the highest probability zone for a 3 in an impulse. But it's to be noted here that if this is done here, we did it upon just getting to the 1618, and we're a little shy of this algo target. But let's pull some of this off here since we've got that established here. All right, so let me get this off here. Okay, so we get a 1, 2, ABC into the 2. Well, now we'd be looking for the 4, ideally somewhere around the 50 is where you're looking for it, that if we're going to be textbooks. So start of the 1 through the pivot of the 3. Here's where we'd be looking for it. So let's see, I've got one, but yeah, okay. So we're good. So this is, what's there? Do we run? Is this it? Right? Do we run into this? So prior resistance kicks in as the support, very possibly. But of course, you got to check from both sides. Was there an algo play and algo target in there? Well, there you go. Right. So interesting. So it gets a very slight break here of the 6.5, but straight rip to target, and then that reaction. You have to assume that that's what happened there. Right? How do you explain the slight break? I can't. I can't answer for it. I can just, for whatever reason, if I'm right on there, yeah, it's a very slight break. For whatever reason, they stayed with it. So we can better understand why we pivot here. Why do we not make the 50? Well, there's your reason, right? That's the front run on this algo play, right? Whatever the algo was there, this is where they're taking profit. That's buy pressure, and look at that reaction. So I think we have to assume this is our 4, and then this straight rip up into the 5 is now completing. So if we look here now, we'd want to, with that being a technical pivot, we'd want to check for other confluence there. So I'd use both. So I'd look 2 to the 3. All right, so there you go. Right. So that now you look at it in two ways. So now look at this, guys. Right. You want to know why I like Forex? Right, it's so unbelievably technical. Look at that. Right. It's right. You couldn't. God, you know, it's almost like you'd think, oh, come on, man. You're scripting this. Right. It can't. How? Right, guys. How do we have issues here? Right. Why are you banging your head against the wall in crypto when you've got this kind of technical trading available to you? You can open an account in 5 minutes. I understand. Well, you know, I got my capital. You know, I'm really committed to crypto. I see real potential. Okay, I'm with you, man. I'm as bullish as anyone long term. But as a trader, if your objective is to make money, why are you in crypto at the moment? Right, and I understand, oh, long term, we can buy these here at levels we may never see again in our lifetime. I understand that thinking. Right, I've got plenty of crypto. But in terms of looking for vehicles to trade, you show me something more technical than this. I'd like to see it. Where's Bitcoin? Here's Bitcoin. Look at Bitcoin today. Right, do you want to trade that? It's essentially flatlining. You know, I just don't understand the reluctance to come in where the trading is just better. Now, shit, now I got to find where I left off. Okay, so, you know, I can harp on this all day long for you guys, and, you know, I can show you example after example of how technical it is in Forex. You know, I can't make you guys come in here. I would just encourage you to at least consider staying open to it. It's certainly easy to open an account and come in here, start testing it, trade it in sim, paper trade it. You can trade it right here. You can paper trade it right in TradingView. Get used to how it moves. Everything I'm teaching you is fully on display here. Well, I'm not done yet. Look here. So here's the low. I wonder how the median lines are here in in Forex. Well, here's your 80%. Bangs to the median line. What happens? Now, we've moved away from that, so you'd have to draw again. But there's your corner pocket. All right, now, so we might look at this and say, okay, well, shit, let's get that off here. I want this. Okay, well, let's just draw a new one. Okay, where else could we be looking? Well, we could certainly look here. Pull this over. Are we there yet? You know, I'm not right on that edge. Okay, now, I get it right on there. I don't want to fudge this at all. To the tick. Okay. Okay, seriously. Come on, guys. I can't give you anything better than that. And it's not like I'm cherry picking. You guys picked the Canadian dollar. I didn't pick that. I trade this a lot. Here's why. Right, so what do you have right here? So here's just a classic corner pocket. Comes right to the 50. Jesus Christ, guys, come on. How do I put something better in front of you? That's a gigantic move from 128 to 136. You can that trade right there can make your year. And it almost looked like I faked it. Like I'm photoshopping this somehow. It can't be that perfect. Can it? What's left here, guys? It frustrates me here. It's just so much reluctance to move away from crypto. It's just the money's not being made in crypto right now, guys. You know, if you got to choose, if you got limited resources, limited places to park your money, I don't know why you're sticking with crypto. I don't understand it, quite honestly. This is just as good. So we want to do it in a channel. Let's do it in a channel. Right, technical enough for you? So what do we have here? If we got a potential of our one wave of a leading diagonal going in. Let's go up a degree here. Let's go to a different color here just to get a sense of where we might be going. So if coming off of this perfect 50 and we've got a perfect leading diagonal, well, what are we anticipating? Well, we're just going to draw up the 50. Well, we've made the 38. So that's a good segue. All right, so the potential alternate here. There is an alternate here that has to be considered. And that would be that we have a larger ABC. So it's almost like the S&P. So there is a reasonable, it's not unreasonable, to think that Still getting over this cold. This could be an ABC, so we could have done it this way. So it could be we get an A, B, and we've got a C here. Now we know that was technical, right? So we just drew it up. So we know that's possible here because I can get an ABC here. This, you got to dig a diet, something. It looks like you can get an impulse out of that. So if it's 1, 2, that's going to be a little dicey. You're trying to get an impulse in your 3. So that's a possibility here. So if this is ABC, so if we've gone 1, 2, well, and part of the reason that I come to that, remember what I drew up before. From the length of the 1 projected to the 2, right? So we come, right, that's right in the window between the 1618 and the 175. So not only are we to the tick on an algo, to the tick on a set of median lines, we've come right into the 1618. So that's a possible 3, right? So we get a bit more complexity, I should say, in that third. So we get this kicker here. So if this is going to come down for, pardon me, this would be a 4. So my 4 actually would move over here. So there's a contender for the 4. Now remember, in a 4, let's pull this off. So sorry. We'd be looking for, if this is 1, 2, and that's the 3, which is possible, certainly possible, we'd be looking for a reaction at the 50 here. Now, all right, strong market certainly could turn here. We could go up for the 5 here, and that's what you're going to have as your alternate. Should we get a push to new highs here, because then no longer could we have the 5 completed here. So that certainly is play. Now, in play. So I'd look at a couple of ways to approach that. 30, yeah, we still don't get there. You got to look at how's an algo going to read it. So there's a nice little ABC here. So this could be. We could have A, B, C. And it's a couple of different ways we could read that. But here's a significant pivot. Remember, I'm on a 4-hour here. Right to a 50. There's your target. So if that's going to keep going, that certainly is a contender for a buy. Now, you might pause just for a second because it looks like if that's going to, let's go down to an hourly. If that's going to be an A, B, C, it looks like that C may not be done. So you could make that case here. So maybe a little premature, but you could certainly look at that and go 3, 4, 5 still going in. Could push the 4 down a bit. So if that's A is in, and we've got our B, and we're going down for the C, maybe we go deeper here. Certainly possible. So let's zoom in on this, see how technical this is. So if this is 1, 2, you'd have to get your 1, 2 there, 3, 4. Tough to get much out of there, but the shape of it is fairly good. So we pull this here. Let's look at that. Let's check that 1 to the 3. What'd we get? Not quite to the 1272. Not crazy here. So we could look at this as, so it's long enough. We could have our 3 there. So if we're thinking about potentially more downside here, well, here we're just sitting at the 38, so it looks A, B. It could be a little more in that. So note here. So we get the pivot of the 1 right at the golden zone. So if this has got a little more kick in it, that wouldn't be terribly unsurprising. Now it would be interesting to see if that held, because if it breaks, right, then perhaps the ABC is done down here. We break that, so we could go into a diagonal and then still go down for that target. Right? There's always going to be uncertainty, so you have to just accept that's just part of the game, right? You got to accept that. You're never going to know what's going to happen. You just have probabilities, and then you have money management, so you don't let something get away from you. But is there a reasonable trade there? Sure, right? Because this does not look like it's done. So if we pull out on this and think, okay, well, we got 2 possibilities here. This is the top of the leading diagonal, and we're correcting that in 3. That's one possibility. Or we've got our 3 here because of the strength of this move, and we're in the process of finishing an ABC. So we might additionally, let's pull this off here, we might additionally be looking for some sort of parity here if we can get some confluence. So if we grab the length of the A wave projected from the B, well, we get the 100, interestingly, just below the 65. So if this has got another push down, be interesting to see if that holds. right? That would certainly be an area to be paying attention to, but take note here, we're not pulling from the low. We're pulling from this prior pivot. So, shit, can't do it. I got to go to a 4. Okay, so let's try that. All right, so this, I'm pulling from a, we got a couple of different ways we could look at this as I was showing you. So what else could we pull from? Well, we could go back one, right? That would put your 5 here right at the 50 from that on, and then we have the all the way halfway back, right? So that would put us, so that's kind of interesting. So now we'd have, I think this is the preferred count, is that we completed the diagonal up here. I think that's a stronger case here. And that we're in the process of completing the ABC. So this would stay, this would stay as the 3. I think of the 2 counts, this is until proven otherwise. I think you got to stay with this as the 3, and the 4 is over here, and this is done. I think that's the preferred, but you got to consider the alternates. You always want to have at least one alternate. Well, assuming, okay, first assumption always is, well, let's just assume I'm wrong. So what else could be going on? And that's kind of why I take you through those 2 alternates. This is the other thing to look for is some sort of fib relationship between the start of the 1 through the pivot of the 3 projected from the 4. So a common target in a diagonal, in a leading diagonal, would be 618, the length of that relationship from the start of the 1 through the pivot of the 3. Right? We know, well, so this is kind of interesting to look here. So we get that. There's the 618, and then if we look for confluence, if we take the length of the 1 projected from the proposed 2, get it right on there. Look at that nice confluence here where we've got the 618 and the 1618. All right, and then on top of that, of course, just to add the bonus for the, all right, that's what you call serious confluence. Oh, almost forgot. All right, how much more can we stack on that? All right. That's why you want to look at trading Forex, guys. Right? At least start paper trading it. It could be a long wait for the crypto bull. Right? Listen, it could happen tomorrow. I understand. But right now, right? You got this kind of absolute. Note here, I'm on the 4 hour. I like to stay 4 hour and above. Just pristine technical trading. Can't get any better compared to that. If you're a trader and your objective is to make money and you're holding crypto only, I don't know what you're doing. All right, guys.